So welcome to another exciting session of SonicWall Wednesday. I am your host. I'm Alex Michael, SE Manager for Northern Europe. It's almost half a year that we've been doing these sessions now. So thank you to you guys, you partners in the region, for joining this session from all of your different regions. So I can see there's all the areas are represented here. Again, thank you very much. So what's the purpose of the SonicWall Wednesday? Well, it's a relaxed session for us technical sorts to get together. The topic will be will vary and change every month, and we will. It's an opportunity to have a discussion, and you can ask questions about that topic. We have a brief demo, a deliberately brief demo, and the idea is that while that demo is going on, you have the Q&A button. So please use the Q&A button to type your questions, and all your SEs are on hand to answer. And if you're uncomfortable sort of speaking up at the end, then feel free to use the chat room, and you can always follow up for your SEs. So by all means, use this as an opportunity to have some questions there. Okay, so today's topic. Today we are talking about NSM, specifically the creation of templates within NSM. I think we can all agree, if you've got a few firewalls in your NSM being managed, then being able to roll out templates and config to multiple devices, very useful. So I've asked Neil to prepare a short video on how to create templates. So I will hand over to him shortly. Just to remind you, we will follow up with a quiz. So by all means, pay attention and keep your notes. So there will be a quiz following up when you get the recording, and we will also share a transcript. Okay, so all right, without further ado, I am going to hand over to Neil Lewis, who's over here in the UK region, and he will hit play on the presentation, if that's okay, Neil. The show is yours.
Absolutely, yep. Here we go. Hello and welcome to SonicWall Wednesday. My name is Neil Lewis, and today I'll be talking about how to create templates in NSM 2.2. First of all, let's take a look at our agenda. Number one, we'll be creating and applying a base template. Then we'll be creating and applying a nested template. And then after that, we'll have a quick look at applying a template across multiple tenants, which is something you might want to do if you're applying policies to multiple customers, for example, if you're an MSP. And then finally, we'll have a quick look at creating a template from a firewall config. First of all, we can see I've got a couple of devices here, a TZ370 and a TZ570. And I've set up some nested groups. We've got a TZ group, and within the TZ group, we've got small branch and medium branch group. Within the medium branch group, we've got the TZ570. The small branch group is currently empty. And in unassigned firewalls, we've got the TZ370 sat there. So let's take a look at the templates. First of all, we'll add a template for a base configuration. So if we call that base config. And now we'll also set this to zero touch. That will allow the template to be automatically added to the device. So if we hit create and confirm to go into the template configuration, you notice the configuration is basically very similar to a configuration screen on a device with all the settings you'd expect. Initially, let's try changing the admin login. We'll stick nlewis in there and accept that. And then also, if we have a look at the network page, we can change the LAN IP range. If we change that from the default to 192.168.10.1 and then hit OK. And also we'll change some DHCP settings. If we create a new scope, we'll select the X0 interface to create that scope for it. It'll auto fill that stuff in, and if we hit OK, it has created the new scope there. Okay, so if we come out of template view, we'll see the base config template there. We can apply this template. Simply go to the action button there, hit apply template, and we'll apply that to the TZ group level. So that will then apply that template across everything that is in that TZ group. So we'll see those 4 operations there. The operations have been successful on the TZ570. It's the only device currently within that TZ group, and you see there it's within the medium branch group underneath the TZ group. If we take a look at the inventory and then take a look at the configuration of the TZ570, if we look under device there, we'll see that the admin logon name has been changed. If we go and have a look at the interfaces, we'll see that the X0 interface IP address has changed. And also, if we have a look at the DHCP scopes, we'll see that we have a scope now for the range attached to the X0 interface. Now, if we go and create another template, we can call this test or TZ570. We won't stick that zero touch. So if we create that and confirm that, we'll go into the configuration, the template configuration screen. So first of all, I'll just add an address object in the LAN zone, and we'll want the type to be host. And if we put in the IP address there, 192.168.10.20, save that. Oops. We need to add in a name. So if we call this test and we save that. Now, if we also add a policy, an access rule. So what we'll do, we'll call this test, and then we'll do a deny rule from LAN to WAN. There it is. So we'll keep source port same, source address. So if we just look for test, there it is, and destination any, we'll just keep everything default. So we'll apply that. There we go, that's added that rule. If we come back out, we can see that template is there. Now if we apply that template, and we go under the TZ and we apply that to the medium branch group, we'll see there's a couple operations that have been successful, and that has applied to the TZ570. Close that out. And we'll add another template. We'll call this one TZ370 and create that. Go into the config. And here we'll add an object again. So if we add test2 this time, again we'll do this in the LAN zone. It will be a host address 192.168.10.30. So we'll save that off. Right now, if we add a policy also, so we'll add something slightly different. We'll call it test2 so that we know which one it is. From LAN to WAN, and this time from test2 destination. We'll just make something different here so it's a bit obvious. So what we'll do to all WAN IP rather than any. And we'll do this one on a schedule. It's an allow rule, but we'll allow it only on a schedule if we do that for after hours, one of the default schedules there. Apply that. Now, If we come back out, we can see that the new template is there. And if we apply that template, and we'll apply this to the small branch group. Now there's no devices in this group yet, so obviously that is not actually applied to anything. Now, if we take a look at the TZ370, we will see that the IP address on the LAN interface is still using the default address. So now, if we go and have a look and edit the small branch group, we can see that the templates are applied to that group. And if we edit that group and add in the TZ370 into that group, now if we take a look at the TZ370 here, we'll see now that the IP address on the LAN there has changed using the base config template. And also, if we have a look, we can see now that the object test2, not test, just test2, appears in the list here. And if we have a look at policies and we do a search, we can see that just the test2 policy has also been applied. So it's applied the base config and the TZ370 config through the templates that were applied there. Now if we look at the TZ570 and we have a look at the objects, if we look for test, there we go, we can see only test is applied, not test2. And same for the access policy, test is applied, not test2, as expected there, yep. Now one other thing we can do is we can apply templates across multiple tenants. So if we have a look at the all tenants, we can see now that the NSA 2700 is visible. So if we have a look at our template page, we can go to apply template, and you can see now that you can actually see the groups in both of the tenants. So it's now possible to apply that template across to a different tenant. One thing to point out here is that none of the config is actually applied, with the exception of zero-touch templates, until you go to the commit and deploy section and either schedule the deployment or hit deploy now. The zero-touch templates are deployed out to any devices that are zero-touch devices. Now, one of the other things that we can actually do here is if you have a device with a configuration on it, it's possible to export that configuration as a template. So we can see here the NSA 2700. If we go to our actions and then export to template, it gives us some options here. If we give it a template name, we'll call it NSA base config. And then you can have it on zero touch or not. Now the skip default configuration, with that on, that doesn't include any of the default configuration options in that template. Whereas if you were to switch that off, it would just include every setting that is stored, whether it's a default or not. And there we go. We can see that now we have exported that configuration to a template, and that can now be used to apply across to any group that you'd like. That's everything from me. Thanks for listening. Now let's see if you've got any questions.
Okay, great. Thank you very much, Neil. Very informative, I'm sure. So it's actually a bit quiet in the Q&A.
Does that mean I did a good job?
Well, I did want to say, but I was kind of gonna. embellish that slightly. Any afterthoughts, Neil, that maybe you forgot that you haven't included in your video? Any sort of follow-up pointers that you might have?
Nothing in particular. I should emphasize the commit and deploy option there, though. I didn't really sort of go into it in too much detail. If you're familiar with NSM, you'll know that any configuration changes you make, you've got to hit that commit and deploy in order for them to be pushed out to the device. But the same goes for the templates as well. It does show the configuration changes on your devices, but unless they're actually pushed out via the commit and deploy, then they won't actually apply out. They won't get pushed out to the devices there as well.
Okay, great. No, I think that's very useful to emphasize that. And listen, for all your engineers out there, always remember your change control. There we go. There's a lesson. I'm sure we've all experienced that in the past. Okay, so we're starting to see some questions come in, and that's great. Thank you, guys. I really appreciate the interaction. Okay, before we go into those, if you would prefer to answer your question on audio, now is the time. There is a little button that you can raise your hand. It's all very official here. So go ahead and hit that button, and I will unmute you, and we can address that. And we've got some answers for the Q&As in the box, so they're all flowing in. I think first I am going to allow a question from well, it says Netwalker team, so I imagine there's more than one. So hi Netwalker team. Let me just. There you go. If you unmute, you can ask away. Hi, can you hear us?
Yeah. Hi. Is there okay? You answer in the query answer. Not yet in the roadmap. Is it for a set of templates or is it for rollback feature?
I'm not sure I understood that. Neil, I'm going to pick on you. Did you grab that?
Yes. We can apply template to firewall. Is there in the future a rollback capability or rollback feature that it will be added to that?
Yeah, I see. So what you're asking, just to summarize, you're asking if in the future you'll be able to roll back changes that you've made. For example, an error has been made. Right, I understand. Sorry, I didn't catch your name. I've just got Netwalker team here.
Yeah, that's great. Philip,
thank you very much for that question. Which of the SEs would like to answer that question for Philip?
Alex, this is Mahmoud here.
Mahmoud, hi. Go ahead. The floor is yours.
Yeah. Actually, this is not supported at the time being, but it will be on the roadmap.
So we do have that
great.
on the roadmap. Okay. So it sounds like we don't have a specific release version for that, Philip. But what I would suggest is that your SE can find that answer for you, and we'll find that out and get that back to you if that's okay.
Okay. Another question was about this to build sets of templates. Because we can do template, for example, a quick silly example, one template to set up DNS, one template to set up or current IP, fixed IP address, and a basic template for each kind of firewall. And maybe we like to be able to make a superset of templates. For example, set up with basic template, then apply a DNS template, then apply or fixed IP template.
Right. Okay. So what I'm hearing there is that there is a specific feature that you would like in NSM templates, which isn't there right now. What I would suggest, Philip, is if you communicate that to your SE, I mean, I don't have an answer for you right now. Communicate that SE. I mean, it sounds like it was very specific, and we have the ability to request features from the NSM team, and if it's useful, we can absolutely push that through to the engineering team for a later version. But yeah, I mean, it's great feedback, Philip. We really appreciate you contributing that. I hope that's okay. Good. Okay. Thanks, Philip, for that. I am going to...
Alex, can I add to that?
Yeah, absolutely. Go ahead, Jeroen. Always a pleasure to see you.
So I just want to share that we have a very strong roadmap on Network Security Manager. So things like templating, grouping, but also very exciting new features are on the horizon. It's not going to be released in let's say in a month of time, but we have a very strong roadmap. And I just want to say to the audience, stay tuned on all the upcoming releases and all the sessions that we're going to go out and present to you guys in the future, because things are moving at a rapid pace when you look at a Network Security Manager and feature releases. So also stay tuned on the upcoming 90 minutes where we're going to go deeper into the new release of 2.3. That's going to be based on VPN orchestration as well in Network Security Manager. And many features are to come out this year, also regarding templates, regarding grouping of templates, but also putting in variables into the Network Security Manager that you can use, again, in templates for ease of use and reducing your total cost of ownership.
Great. Jeroen, very important. Thanks for adding that, keeping us in check as always. Great. Okay, so we've got another question from, and again, forgive the pronunciation, Bjorn Goldau. I hope I've said that correct. Bjorn, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you.
Did I say that correctly?
Not really, but it's okay.
Okay,
So,
there's an apology that will come out officially after this session. But go ahead, the floor is yours.
No problem. We have some customers with a lot of sites, and they basically share the same configuration on all of the sites. So my question is, can you deploy a template where the local subnet is just counting up for every appliance?
Okay, so I assume by that you mean, okay, let's say you've got 10 sites and each LAN subnet is, I don't know, a class C apart.
Yes.
So for example, 192.168.1.3x. Okay, so
yes.
Yeah, it's a great question. So I believe James has fired up his camera. That's either because he's showing off his T-shirt or he has an answer for us. Go ahead, James.
That's coming in the next release. It's called the template variables, where you be able to increment based on those variables. As Jeroen said, we'd be able to do that on those variables. So that is coming in the 2.3 release. So
okay.
Watch out for the betas on that as well.
Great.
That's great to hear.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So 2.3, I believe we're aiming for June, unless one of my guys wants to correct me. So again, keep an eye out for the betas. Thank you very much. It's a great question.
I have a little addition to that.
Yeah, please go ahead. The floor is yours.
Yeah, will it be able to compare to all the other appliances that are already in the NSM to just start the count where the highest subnet from the last appliance is, for example, so that the count excludes all of the X0 subnets that are already taken for other appliances?
Okay, so yeah, I don't have the answer for that. I think we have to see the James. Is this something that you had a chance to play with, or do we have to wait?
We haven't even got the internal beta yet, but yeah, we can watch out for that feature for you when you're on the beta. If it doesn't put that beta feedback in.
Yeah, I could see what he's asking for, you know, because what you don't want to do is have, you know, you've already started that template, you know, for a handful of sites and maybe roll on from those without overwriting them. I guess that's my limited understanding of it. We've got a few other SEs who want to show us their beautiful faces. Sylvain, do you want to add to that? Sorry, Jeroen, I'm going to come to you in a second.
I just know Bjarne. I just wanted to offer get in contact with us, with Stefan or me, and we will follow up internally and yeah, have a deeper chat about what the requirement is and see how we can solve it or if we can get it communicated back to PM. Yeah.
Okay.
Great stuff.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Sylvain and the DACH team. Thank you very much. Jeroen, was there a little afterthought from that as well?
Yes, just want to mention what I was mentioning earlier. Strong roadmap what we have for Network Security Manager. What you also will see in the near future is also something called compliancy, so that we can actually check and also recheck on what we think is good or what you can configure, what good should look like, and what is actually configured across a lot of firewalls in the field. So that will give us also a roadmap that will go into compliancy. And where we can eventually, at the end of the road, where we can say this is mandatory, right? But that's all roadmap. It's not going to come out in a month of time, but stay tuned for further updates.
Okay, great. I think it's fair to say this is NSM is important. I think we all know that, and as your owner said, that we are, we're gathering pace with the features that are coming. If you keep a lookout for the invitations to the future SonicWall Wednesday, it will be remiss of us not to address this topic again later on in the year, especially when we've had these features drop. So do keep an eye out. And as your own says, this is not the only source of your NSM information. Keep an eye out for your SonicWall University and our training sessions coming out. Okay, speak to your local SE. Okay, I think that's that for the audio questions. And unless anyone wishes to raise their hands, I'm going to dip into the Q&A chat room. As you could probably see, that you get to see the answers as they come in. We will share the Q&A with you when we follow up with the recording and with the quiz questions, which I've already talked about. So I'm going to pick on Pierre Hazrouni. I hope I said that correct. And he asks, what about the firmware files? Today, we have to download the firmware from my SonicWall and then upload it to NSM. He asks, why don't we have the ability to upload to be able to run that direct from NSM, like we do, like a competitor who will not be named, not on my SonicWall Wednesday, they won't, and where they can have the firmware directly downloaded on there. It's an absolutely fair request. And again, I mean, this does sound like a roadmap question. So would any of the SEs like to comment on that? If that's something that we have in the pipeline.
Yeah, hi Alex, just let me answer this one. I think
yes, go ahead,
now right now you have the capability to do to install the image, or let's say you don't have to download the image from my SonicWall because it will be already there on the NSM once you open or once you request to do a new version of the firewall, you will be able to see that image on the NSM itself. There is no need to download it from my SonicWall.
Right. So just to be clear, Mahmoud, that feature is available now, is what you're saying?
Yeah.
Great. Okay. So Pierre, maybe we've missed something here. Can you reach out to your SE, and I'm sure that they can show you where that is. We may have a KB article, but an SE will be able to do that. We will find out who your local SE is, and we'll get them to reach out to you if you don't reach out to them direct. I hope that's okay, Pierre. You're on mute. You're not on, you're not speaking. Sorry, I don't expect you to answer that. Okay, Pierre, thank you very much. Good. Okay, so we have had some questions answered. I'm just going to read a couple more, and then we're going to talk about what we've got coming up in the future. I think we've answered that already. We were asked about the roadmap, the rollback. Okay, can we review current configs against the template and highlight deltas? So that's disparities and changes that we have. Again, any one of our SEs would like to pick that up. Don't all jump at once. If this is something that we don't have the answer for, we can get back to you. Hang on a second. I believe we had some answers in the chat room. One second. Yes, we do have a diff. We do have a diff feature. Thanks, Stefan. You actually answered this in the chat room. I didn't need to put anyone on the spot. So we do have a diff feature. Reach out again to your SE if you're having trouble locating that. I think we've got time for one more. On the licensing for the Generation 7 Advanced Projection Service Suite, is there an upgrade? Sorry, let me repeat that. Is there an upgrade from the NSM Essentials license to the NSM Advanced license? Okay, and we have here in the chat room that's coming soon when we introduce our Premier bundle. You will see from the data sheets that we have the feature parity between those separate licenses. So by all means, check on that. Okay, we've got a couple more that are coming in. No, they're the existing ones that we've already answered. Right. Okay, so I believe that's it for the questions. Please still type them in if you have any more. I'll just do some wrap up. We had one more question here. Let's see if we can catch that. Okay, so Pierre's still having trouble locating the NSM where the firmware feature is. We will reach out to you and we'll, you know, what Mahmoud says, we'll show you where that is. Okay. And like I said, when I follow up with the transcript, I'll make sure we'll flesh out the details, whether that's a link to a knowledge base article or some instruction. I'll make sure that that's allocated. Don't worry, Pierre, we won't leave you hanging on this one. Good. Okay, so what have we got coming up next month? And I'm just checking my note here on the side. On the 23rd of June, we are going to have a session on WCM. So that's the wireless manager. Wynand is going to show us all how to set up and add an access point. So very basic setup of access point. So for you who are using our Sonic Waves and managing them via the NSM, a great opportunity for you to you know, to get some pointers and ask your questions on how to deploy access points. So that's good. Okay, I'd like to again thank you, the attendees and the partners for coming and joining for us in this session. In the near future, I'm going to introduce a poll. I haven't done it for this session. That's on me. I'm going to introduce a poll so you guys can offer some feedback about these sessions and what we can do to improve them. So if you you know, have any recommendations for now, feed that back to your SE or directly to me, michael@sonicwall.com. You know, these sessions are for you. We want to make them get maximum use. So please let us know. But I will introduce a poll or a survey, I should say, for later sessions. And again, final reminder: keep an eye out for the follow-up. The SonicWall Uni quiz is going to be there, and your chance to gather some CER points to take you up to your hypersonic status. Okay, with that in mind, thank you very much for joining. And unless there are any last-minute raised hands, or if someone wants to shout at me from the lobby, there we go. We do have one that always grabs them. One final question. Oh no. That's been lowered. Okay, Thomas, I saw you raise your hand, but you lowered it quickly. I think you got a bit of stage fright there. Thanks for making the ending dramatic, at least. So with that in mind, we are going to end this session now. Thank you all for joining, and we will see you very soon on the next SonicWall Wednesday. Thank you very much.